Greetings and salutations, this is Imperator Vespasian and his trusty sidekick.
Hello.
We're going to be taking a quick look at the Zulu command that you get in the Zulu War box set, the Zulu Army box set. You get a mounted command figure, a foot witch doctor, and a foot general or runner, now officer. I did him with slightly grey hair to make him look like he had a bit of authority. The witch doctor's quite cool. I've got him all done up with nice little horsehair. And this is the officer, and here's the Unduna, I think they were called, which is quite good. Modelling wise, I had to cut them off the bases, as you know, because I'm basing them on plastic bases. Very hard doing this, chap. Be very careful if you do the same. And with the horse again, I had to do the same as I did with the English officers, because the horse legs from these figures are slightly too dainty to be sort of cutting away the lead. So I had to base them like that. But I did put a bit of greenery on the base to make it look funky. So I think it looks okay. Right, the figures themselves are from Empress Miniatures. But you can get them from Warlord Games. You can either buy them as on their own, or you can get them as part of the box set. We got them in the box set, as you know. Questions?
Alright.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else to say about them. They're just Zulu officers.
Who's the Uda?
That's Zulu officer. Appointed by the king. The Zulu king appointed people to command each regiment and to command groups of regiments. Goes back to the days of Shaka, who sort of built the Zulu army. Before then, the Zulus were sort of very tribal and fought in tribes, whereas Shaka actually made it into a proper military formation. Quite Romanesque.
What does the witch doctor do? It's just a normal doctor.
He was a medic.
What does the medic use to be in?
A doctor, well, he would stand there and say, the gods look favourably on this battle, etc., etc.
Wow.
When it came to after the battle, they were medics, and they were actually not too bad. They did have studies into the Zulu culture shows that they did have quite a good understanding of certainly battlefield injuries and how to cure them, or at least how to save people's lives if they're injured. So they weren't too bad. If you were wounded and you were British, you would probably die in a hospital.
Yeah, good point.
Because hospitals were lethal back then, just like they are now, really.
I mean, if it weren't for Legis Semmelweis, women would still die from childbirth.
Well, actually, women were fine giving birth until doctors turned up. No, seriously, women tended not to die in childbirth too much, because you had a midwife, which was a woman who'd already had a baby and she knew what was doing. And then the church got involved, and so the priest would come and pray for you while you gave birth. So if anything went wrong, you died, because for some reason God doesn't tend to intervene on childbirth and stuff.
God just doesn't care. He's busy.
Yeah, he's busy giving.
He's still asleep. My mate was asleep. Is asleep from since the 7th day.
He's busy giving AIDS to kids in Africa. That's what God's doing.
And Ebola.
Yeah, and Ebola. Yeah, and that other place.
And Black Death. He gave us all Black Death back in the day. Remember
that? Was great. That was great.
Yeah. Shows how much he cares about us.
Got a lot to thank God for. Joking aside, oxygen. Well, yeah, he did well on the planet. I mean, you can't fault him for the planet. It's quite good. It's nice and warm. Humans live here. Horses, useful. Spiders, yeah, keep the flies away. So he did think about it before he did it. He had a good thinking there. Ants, don't. You can eat them.
Wasps.
They're pointless. They're absolutely pointless. He was having a bad day. Bad second.
And wasps
That point.
killing bees.
No.
That's lying.
No, wasps aren't killing bees. But some wasps can carry diseases that kill bees, and they do tend to hang around the same plants.
Just fly around stinging things.
They only sting because they're drunk.
What? The wasps are drunk all
No,
the time.
they eat nectar, which in the heat of summer turns into sugar, and it turns into alcohol in their blood, in their stomachs.
Is that why you don't see them?
So wasps are basically the reason wasps fly around everywhere, bouncing off things, and then sting you viciously is because they're actually drunk. I'm not kidding. That's actually why wasps sleep.
Oh, hi me. Oh, I'm gonna have a hangover tomorrow.
Yeah, bees don't. Bees don't eat it. They actually carry it on their legs, so they don't get drunk because they're not actually ingesting it, or not in the same volume. Anyway, that's besides the point. Well, how the hell did we get onto bees?
I don't know.
Actually, as far as a witch doctor goes, honey is a brilliant cure for practically everything. It's an antiseptic. If you've got a cut, rub honey into it. It's an
Hey, I've
antiseptic.
been shot in the heart. Rub some honey on it. You'll be fine.
Well, you're dead at that point, aren't you? So you're not going to worry about it. I'm on about basic.
Oh yeah, you're not going to worry about it. I'm just dying on the ground.
One way to avoid tetanus is if you get stabbed by a rusty nail in your garden. What you're doing with a rusty nail in your garden, I don't know. But if you do, immediately rub honey onto it.
Immediately.
Pretty much immediately, yeah. Because if it gets into your bloodstream, you die of blood poisoning. But
That's like half a second. Like, that's half a second.
you have a bit of time. But the
Run upstairs, quick! Run all the way!
But honey, when we used to go camping, any injuries, any injuries you need, just rub some honey into it and it kills. It's antiseptic. So it's great stuff.
I hate the smell of honey.
I don't care, it stops you from like
And the taste.
How can you not like honey?
Horrid.
So yeah, basically they were medics, generally. But they also tended to know stuff too. So they'd be useful advisors because they'd be quite old and usually had a lot of information in their head that they could pass on to you. And they were also useful for talking to other tribes as well, because they were kind of considered neutral. So you'd send this guy to go and negotiate for you. Typically. Unlike the Saxons. Because the actual king would have to go. If you were Saxon, in Saxon times. Because kings were to negotiate.
Which is what's it supposed to
So the Zulus are far more civilized. They sent a man to do it.
Well, no, you're supposed to have an idol to do it for you.
An idol.
Yeah, like someone you look up to. Like your king. You look up to your king.
Oh, right.
Back in the day, not
You mean a
nowadays.
follower.
Nowadays.
Some sort of acolyte.
Acolyte?
Acolyte, yeah.
What the hell's acolyte?
Oh, never mind.
Okay. Acolyte?
Did you learn anything in school?
I learned that half of England during Anglo-Saxon's time was run by Celts.
Right, so I'm missing the whole Roman period of Britain then.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Your teachers are idiots. I just saw that out there.
No, they just
They
do
know
what, they
nothing.
just do what the teacher tells them, the boss tells them to do.
Yeah. Right, okay. Never mind. Moving on. Usual game stuff. It's just an officer, so foot move 36, mounted move 48 because they move faster because they're on a horse, which makes it quite useful to get this guy where you need him. The Zulus will tend to be quite spread out on the battlefield, so that will be very useful for the Zulu player. If you decide to.
No, the British just get a Gatling gun.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, that would be kind of cheating that. Colour-wise, there was the shield colours originally. The Zulu shield colours, I think, elite troops, veteran troops wore white shields, and new troops use black shields. And then there would be black with specks, and then black with more specks, and then half black and half white, and then mostly black mostly white with a bit of black, and then completely white. And that's how the ranking of regiments went up back in Shaka's day. But by this time, that had all gone out of the window, and really the shields didn't really mean much. I know you get a lot of information online saying this shield was from this regiment, this shield was from that regiment. It was a very general rule, not an actual thing. And you had quite a lot of mixed shields knocking around. And also the shields tended to be smaller during the Zulu War. There weren't many of this size shield around. Most shields were just used for parrying. because as you know, muskets have come in, rifles have come in, and shields are becoming less and less useful. So you sort of had a shorter shield you held on your hand, just as like a target shield.
You don't really have anything to protect yourself from bullets, do you?
Body armour, Kevlar, not something the Zulus had access to.
Not us at this time.
No, us either. No, you had to just get shot, I'm afraid. Your best point was to shoot the enemy before they shot you, or stay in cover so they couldn't hit you. That's generally military tactics at the time.
I mean, what's the point of helmets? World War II and all that, they had helmets, but they did nothing.
Well, no. The Germans didn't even wear metal helmets. They actually wore like a fabric helmet.
Well, yeah, because
The Springkalper was
it showed you that a metal helmet, when a bullet hit it, it went straight through it.
Yeah, it wasn't designed to stop bullets.
What, to make it feel
It was
comfortable?
designed to stop shrapnel.
Oh, I see.
Little bits of metal flying around the battlefield
So
from
it's
shells.
stuck in your head.
Yeah. So
That's why you also had your hair cut off when you joined the army.
Yeah, and a lot of early on in the war, when 1915, when the Tommy helmet was issued, the big flat top rimmed helmet, a lot of soldiers would fasten the buckle underneath the chin, and when the shell went off, the blast wave would catch the helmet and break the neck.
What was the point of that thing around the neck then?
It was for when you're marching around. It wasn't for in combat. In combat, if you fastened your helmet, you were more likely to have your neck broken. So, yeah, the Zulus didn't use helmets anyway, so it wouldn't have affected them.
Wow.
Well, we are talking about the colonial period, so it's a bit pre-World War I, World War II. Any questions?
There's not many questions for leadership, is there?
No, they're just leadership figures, and I've already mentioned about the figures, so that's basically the end of the video. Do you want to do the outro?
So if you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe, and comment down below what you think of the witch doctor.
Yeah, and the Undine, I think Unduni.
Unduni.
I haven't got the deep voice to say it properly.
Unduni.
And an officer, just a general officer. Probably an advisor.
And a general officer.
Yeah. Although I will mention that Zulu officers are probably better than the average British officer.
That's everything from me.
British tend to have idiots in their ranks. And everything from him. Goodbye.